Thank you. All right, so next I would invite Don Gould to the table. So Don, welcome. Good to have you with us. Now, you've got 3 different submissions on our agenda this afternoon, 2 of which are on behalf of organisations, 1 of which is an individual submission. That gives you a total of 13 minutes. So rather than breaking them down into each individual submission, I'll leave it to you to manage the 13 minutes that you've got on our agenda. And if you wanted to leave time at the end for questions within that 13 minutes, of course, that's something that we would welcome.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, councillors, for the audience today. I am just going to speak to all 3 submissions. I was hoping to have Roger Callaghan join me as well from CDR Housing. He is actually currently in the car park, so maybe he'll get to. We've got the family here again driving things, and you'll remember that, well, some of you will remember he was my son was with us 3 years ago, and he's grown up a little bit since then. Anyway, we'll get to it. I'm going to read some stuff, show a PowerPoint, and then hopefully leave plenty of time for any questions if you have them. 3 years ago, I was here talking to you about getting back to core basics. I spoke of sewers, stormwaters, roads, and drinking water. Well, thanks, guys. You've fixed the sewers, rebuilt some roads, replaced some water pipes, and the $16,000 a day pump trucks haven't been back, so I sleep at night, which helps my mental health. Today, I'm here talking to you about rebuilding broken communities with civic facilities. The role of government is to rise up economic activity with policy and seed capital. As a council, your job is to stimulate the area within your boundary. Wellington's job is to look after the country. Your job is to look after our district. My wife wants a new library with learning spaces at 10 Shirley Road. Me, I want $60 million of economic activity in my suburb and $500 million spent on social housing. You did so well with the core basics that I thought we'd think a little bit bigger this time. I'm going to take my personal submission on social housing as read. Having read my personal ordeal with tenants who suffer from serious meth addiction and mental health issues, I trust you will understand that I'm not insane. I actually have good reason to want some social issues attended to. In 2019, social housing advocate Stephen McPake and I created a website, councillive.ccc.govt.nz, in an attempt to better present information about the city's social housing portfolio that was buried in a number of massive council reports made available to election candidates. I put the data in a database along with other civic information to analyse a better understanding. I had no idea the portfolio was worth close to $400 million. We have $400 million of assets barely serving 2,000 households. Well, we have 1,900 still on the social housing waiting list. This simply isn't good enough. Our website contains lots of research and attitude about policy. Our mission today is to present that in a more formal setting and ask you to better empower staff to do more, much more, with the public civic assets we have. For example, in Shirley we currently have some rundown social housing and an undersized library facility that aren't serving the needs of the community as well as they could. We have AMP Capital owning the Palms Mall, $153 million of rateable value. Roger Callaghan, come and join us. In Riccarton, the mall is worth $523 million, or in other words, $1.2 million versus $4 million in annual rates revenue. My concern is that Civic is a roadblock. The Palms lost Kmart in the last LTP term and is landlocked from expansion. Council needs to trade. Councillor Chen asked how much a new civic space would impact rates. Well, Councillor, my question is how much is not building a new facility at 10 Shirley Road actually costing the economic development of the city? Infill housing which everyone in our area agrees is happening and must happen, is putting more and more pressure on existing assets. I took a quick trip from my house in Richmond to our property in Mariehow. Here's a quick snapshot of vacant land. I know we have a land crisis right now, right? Empty, undeveloped sections sitting on council infrastructure. Not just one, or two, or three. 11 empty sections that could have housing built on them right now. This section has enough space for 30 tiny homes or 15 regular units. It could be housing 30 people. This isn't civic land. We need council to network and make housing development happen. I've just spent the last 6 months helping to get Rhombus up and running, a newly restored public facility in Mariehow. It's already booked out. Richmond Workingmen's Club has opened since I was last here. The public are excited about how much that is cranking. Delta Trust has completed its new facilities. Lions have moved a prefab from St Albans to Mariehow next to Rhombus. It's doing stuff every night of the week. The lights are on at Shirley Primary School most nights. Churches have relocated to Shirley Intermediate. Infill housing is bringing more people into our suburb and it's filling up, and we still need more. Our community needs jobs, and construction delivers and stimulates jobs. We are here to help you. As you know, I'm a computer programmer, though I spend more of my time working in light construction at present. When I'm not sitting in council meetings trying to better understand how we can do more to fix some of our social issues. Not everyone wants to work on the same team. In the past week, a new incorporated society has risen up, Shirley Road Central, because local leadership is needed and not everyone wants to ride in the same waka. Our social housing is incorporating because we're going to take a more formal approach to pushing social housing issues. Roger O'Callaghan and Cameron Parsons have joined me to create CDR Housing Group, a private development company, trust and charity. We've been putting the frameworks in place to empower council to better engage with us and add more transport to the challenges that face us. We know that staff want 200 million more to address social housing. It's simply not enough. We all know that the housing market is currently a runaway train, losing carriages along the way and in some cases costing lives. In our written submissions, we have given you words to empower you with a call to action. Your focus on core business was great. Now we have to help people with civic facilities, libraries and housing. I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you very much indeed. Are there any questions? Aaron.
Thank you, Don, for all the work, effort you've put into this. We've had a lot of people during this plan because we're doing submissions on climate change, but a lot of other people mention climate change, and it's a crisis and it's the biggest problem facing the world. But you're so focused on housing. How do you rate the two and stack them up against each other? Or do they sit together?
Aaron, of course they sit together. One of the things with the quality of housing stock in the council's facilities is that it's ageing. If you look at our website, this is one of the things we presented, was the age of the stock. The carbon footprint of energy use from things like healthcare, the program the council did in the last couple of years with putting heat pumps in, what's that saving in energy? Stephen McPake was here in front of you recently talking about his bill going from $320 a month to $120 a month. So what does that mean about carbon impact? We have to keep rising up the quality of our housing. We've also got a growing population. We've got too many people trying to live in the same house. I've been reading on Facebook, following people saying, Housing New Zealand, any chance, how do I get transferred to a bigger house? I've got My family of 5 plus my mother and 2 others, a total of 8 living in 3 bedrooms. How many of you have 8 people in 3 bedrooms?
Are there further questions? Phil?
Don, if that 10 Shirley Road thing was built, the community centre could go there, or the council building that is in the library at the Palms could go there?
Yes, that building at the Palms actually houses 3 different groups. One is the library facility, the other is the Burwood Coastal Facility, and the last is the post shop and service centre. Some of that needs to go out. Sorry, Phil. Some of it needs to go out to discussion a bit with those stakeholder groups. My opinion, personal opinion, is that the library staff move down to 10 Shirley Road, but the coastal governance group probably need to move more into coastal towards Burwood. And the service centre probably needs to stay actually inside the mall where the retail is, because it's there with the NZ Post attachment. People buy things in the mall and then they want to post them.
But where that existing library service centre and that is sitting, that's stopping the Palms.
Yes, that is the point. That was part of the point. Sorry if that wasn't very clear. Is that it's a roadblock. The Palms can't develop to the south.
Expand.
They can't expand in any direction except into the north. And currently, we've got civic assets sitting in the way of that.
Because they own other buildings.
Yeah, they do. They own the housing out to the northeast, and then right round to where a number of other commercial properties are. So they've already been quite active in buying up the neighbouring properties as they've come available.
Thank you.
Thank you. No further questions? All right, Don, thanks very much indeed for taking the time to present to us this afternoon and for a very visual presentation as well. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you, Andrew. Can I just quickly add one last thing before I leave? I'd like to put a shout out to the tech team here, because a number of years ago I complained about the quality of live streaming, and they have done an outstanding job, both the council team. I believe there are 2 companies involved with actually getting this broadcast out onto the internet and recorded. And I think I'd like to just acknowledge the hard work those guys have done.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. All right, so